Warning, warning. Two idiots are reading the SCP files over the intercom. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Hello and welcome back to Discovering SCP. It's me, Tanhony.
SCP? That's a new one.
Discovering SCP.
Discovering SCP. Is this a new thing? Is that like
This isn't the same podcast. This is a new podcast. I made a new wiki.
Yeah, because it sounds kind of like you're saying. It sounds like you're saying essay, and that's like the Spanish word for, I don't know.
Essays.
I hope it's nothing bad. It's like, hey, essay. Essay. Spanish. It means that? No, that's not right. Used as a form of address for a man, it says. I told him all about you, essay.
I see. That's not what I was saying anyway, so...
I love how the description for a Spanish word, like the sentence that tells you about it in the dictionary, is all in English except for that word. What the fuck? Alright, but yes.
We're here.
You have things for me. How many things do you have for me?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 completely random SCPs.
I'm actually kind of hyped. It feels like we've been doing like one SCP an episode for a hot minute now.
Yeah, we're going on a wild ride here. There's no theme to these, so it's just sort of a grab bag.
Yeah.
But
let me just close this Aetheral Space tab casually. A series on Royal Road and on the channel that is definitely worth your time if you enjoy sci-fi, operas, or animation anigans. All right,
I appreciate there's no distractions distracting you from the podcast anymore. You're sure you fully closed the tab for Aetheral Space on Royal Road?
Yes, I made sure I closed the tab, but not until I knew I had left a review on Aetheral Space.
Of course. Aetheral Space, that's an unusual word. How's it spelled?
It's spelled A-E-T-H-E-R-A-L and then space S-P-A-C-E.
You're quite skilled at that. I imagine you can Google that up very quickly.
Yeah, I would just put something like Aetheral Space Royal Road and you'd probably find it pretty quickly.
That would be useful if I read it. Anyway, back to the SCP.
Yeah, give me the link to the article.
The first one, SCP-169, The Leviathan, by Kane Pathos Crow.
Whoa, this one's from Series 1. That means it has to be good.
That means, yeah, it's like that more up votes you get, the further up in the series you get.
Yeah, exactly. What if that's how it works?
It's a ranking system.
Really funny. Yeah! Alright, yeah. But yes, go ahead.
Let's get into it. Item number, SCP-169. Object class, Keter. Special containment procedures. Because of its size, SCP-169 cannot and almost certainly will never be contained. No structure on Earth is large enough or strong enough to contain the SCP. It's shifted my tone there.
Yeah, I love how they say that, but it's on Earth, so I feel like that's not true, because I feel like I've seen some wacky containment.
The location of the SCP is not precisely known, but imaging satellites and analysis of eccentricities in the Earth's orbit suggest the SCP is located in the southern Atlantic Ocean, possibly stretching around the tip of South America. See Addendum 020. Any satellite footage...
What would happen if you got the Leviathan to swallow one of those mirror stones from SCP Red Sea?
I don't know.
You just zoom into a mirror. No! I've been defeated! Yeah, he'd be on land, he couldn't breathe.
Any satellite footage of a shift in the landmasses produced by the SCP is to be excised and destroyed by embedded agents. Description. SCP-169 is surmised to be a marine arthropod of enormous size, known as the Leviathan, by generations of sailors and oral history. How lewd. Presumed at first to be a myth.
Oral history! Just giving a blowjob while reciting a speech. Lifeguards every year the goal.
SCP-169 was detected on blank 19 blank by Mobile Task Force Gamma 6 during an investigation of paranormal activity around the blank Archipegalagalo. Coordinates...
Archipelago, buddy.
That's what I said. During Gamma 6's investigation, Dr. Bruce Banner discovered...
No, that's definitely Dr. Fisherson.
Dr. Fish Octopus discovered the Archipegalagalo to be moved at least 3 kilometers from its original location.
Hold on, what did you say that word? How'd you say that?
They were initially Dr.
Archipelago. Like Noah's Ark. Heligo.
Oh no, I write a successful website. I think I know how to say it. They were initially Dr. Octopus believed this motion to be due to unusually quick continental drift, a reconnaissance mission performed by the USS Grace Hart revealed the archipelago to be the protrusions of rock-like plates covering an enormous organic mass.
I can't even laugh. I genuinely love your redacted names. I'm terrible at coming up with names on the spot. I usually have a list of names, like when I'm running something, because otherwise I will just come up with the dumbest shit.
The Foundation was brought in immediately to begin threat management. Dr. Tanhony and Dr. Darnell estimate the SCP's body length to between 2,000 and 8,000 kilometres. Now, this is a new part of the lore I've just come up with in the last 30 seconds. We are reincarnations of those two doctors.
Wait, does that mean I'm no longer a junior researcher? I got promoted?
This is in the future of the junior researcher ones, but then they die later on and become these entities that we are.
Oh, wait, did I ever become a doctor before I died?
You did, that's why you listed as a doctor here.
Oh, cool. Good.
And then these doctors die and they come back as these strange creatures.
Does that, because I was going to say, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of our whole lore? Because we were running from the Foundation because we were unauthorized, but if we were once doctors, we should be authorized.
But we're like reincarnations, so we're like different people, we don't have our memories.
Yeah, but you could argue reincarnations are anomalous in and of themselves, and there are plenty of anomalous doctors.
Yeah, but we're type 12 entities, which are the most dangerous.
We're just kind of rogues like that, okay? We don't play by any Foundation's
They have
rules.
mysterious plans that the Foundation does not yet know of. They are our top threats.
Top 5 threats from Tanhony and Darnell. Number 1, blowing up the archipelago.
Okay, the creature is thought to have existed since the Precambrian era. No other specimens have been sighted. Oh yeah, so we estimate its body length to be between 2,000 and 8,000 kilometres. That's big.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Almost nothing is known about the SCP's habits, such as its reproductive capabilities, if any, food source, and nesting area, if any.
You know, some might say that size is too big to fail. Also, why is that the estimate? That's like 4 times the size. How is it such a wide area?
Research regarding the SCP is pending approval. No, you're not allowed. The archipelago is known as the Bruce Springsteen Islands.
Do you actually not know? Archipelago.
Of course I know.
The
archipelago known as the Bruce Springsteen Islands have historically been uninhabited, though claimed by Mexico in 1702. Upon handover to the Foundation, Mexican presence was evacuated.
Wait, Bruce Springsteen didn't exist in 1702.
Was
he named after the islands?
He was, yes. The Mexican president was evacuated on the pretense of rising sea levels. Though the archipelago has remained above sea level for several millennia, any change of depth by the SCP could result in the disappearance of the entire... How many fucking times do they have to say it?
Archipelago!
No, archipelago. One word I have trouble saying, and they're saying it like twice a sentence.
Seriously, I want you to repeat after me. Arc. Pel. Ago. Archipelago.
Archipelago.
There you go! You did it!
Archipelago. As the SCP moves slowly, less than 1 kilometre per week, but seems to only be adrift. Its method of propulsion is unknown. Regular seismic tremors seem to indicate breathing about every 3 months, causing minor shifts in the island's terrain.
It says 3 months.
Every 3 months, causing minor shifts in the island's terrain, suggesting that the creature is probably dormant. Information
so we've got a big monster. Classic Series 1. Oh, information suppression. This is new. We don't see a lot of these.
Yeah, that's my favourite category.
I think this is funny because, like, nowadays, wouldn't that just be put in the special containment procedures?
The USS Batista was scuttled with all hands immediately after discovery of the SCP with the permission of the American government. I was watching the Guardians of the Galaxy earlier, that's why. The public is forbidden from entering the archipelago created by the
Archipelago! You had it. You had it before, now you're doing it.
Archipelago, created by the SCP due to the conveniently large number of resident endangered bird species. As indicated above, satellite footage is to be adopted in order to suppress knowledge of the SCP's movements. NASA is currently cooperating with the Foundation in keeping the existence of the SCP quiet, and is currently permitting the Foundation use of their satellites for photographic use. Nice. Addendum 020. I don't know what the numbers indicate, but in 1992.
No, these three sentences are all addendums 0 through 20.
In
Each word is an
1992,
addendum.
the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, American scientific agency, unaffiliated with and unaware of the existence of the Foundation, detected an ultra-low frequency underwater sound emanating.
Now you just
from
forgot how to
over
read
there.
words, period.
Approximately
Over there for the redacted coordinates. That's actually based. I like that.
approximately far from the southern west coast of South America. Despite the best efforts of embedded agents, John Carlson, news of the sound leaked to the media, receiving significant media coverage. Foundation I can't mess up saying this one. Analysis concluded that a massive underwater organism was the source of the noise, and the SCP was hypothesized to be its source.
Is this SCP based on the bloop noise?
I think
that
so,
famous
yeah.
bloop?
As its head is well within the possible location as of the rest of the SCP. The sound confirms Gamma 6041's hypothesis that SCP-169 is gargantuan in size. Future efforts by scientific or civilian teams to determine the source of the noise must be stopped by any means necessary.
Oh my god, my boy's been drinking.
They got me.
So I gotta say, I don't think I can rate this SCP, because it's easy to poke fun at how clumsy and different it is and how much it goes over the little details. But Cactus brought up a good point when he was on our episode 2 things ago about how they were trying to do something different back then. And I think this is one such case. I don't think this is an article that on its own is supposed to impress you. I think it's supposed to be a clever reference to the bloop, and I think it's supposed to be one of those things that populates what the Foundation is about rather than tell its own story, you know?
It is also
this article
absurdly
more serves
big.
to be yeah. This article is more okay, this is what the Foundation does. It covers things up. There's crazy monsters, but it doesn't really tell the story of the monsters. So I don't think I'm going to give this one a rating. I'm just going to let it sit as filler to pad the universe. World building, if you will.
Yeah, so
I will say, though, that there's no way in fucking hell an article like this would ever get this many upvotes in the modern day.
Yeah, probably not.
Because it's not really telling you anything.
Originally, when it was originally posted, it was even more absurdly big. It was specifically said to be 17% the mass of the Earth. That's
how would it
absurd.
survive?
It's
Just
absurd.
how would it... It's absurd because it physically wouldn't be able to consume enough food to keep going. Let alone all the
sneezy.
Pressure bullshit that
It's
people
because
don't think about.
it's sleepy, Darnell, so it's always asleep. So it doesn't need food to live.
Of course. The food just walks into its mouth.
No, because it's dormant, you see. So it doesn't need to eat.
Course.
Like a bird.
Have you ever listened to the Decemberists?
No. Tell me of them.
There's a song called La Infanta, and it opens up with a and it made me think of that as well. And that's followed by intense drum beats.
I'm so happy for you.
Thanks. Let's get to the next article then, huh? How about that?
Okay. Hey, this guy's getting kind of crazy. Let's get to the next
This
one.
guy can't say archipelago.
Let's move on to the next one.
How can I actually don't know if
1290.
this is a bit anymore. Archipelago. Archipelago.
Archipelago.
Here you go, buddy.
Archipelago.
Nice.
Yeah. Now let's get to SCP.
Oh my god, you're doing it on purpose. You're definitely fucking me.
I'm sorry, I'm doing what?
Me. You're fucking me.
That's right. He's sticking to his guns.
Wait, I need to
next-
update Discord. Hang on.
Do you need to update Discord? What? You don't have to update Discord. We're recording a podcast.
Come on, it'll just take a second. Come on.
No, do it afterwards.
Okay, but
This guy says it so casually. I need to update Discord. We're 15 minutes in. We're not.
Okay, all right.
Shameless.
We're doing a podcast. It bothers me.
Don't look at it. Why do you even
right.
got Discord open?
I was getting the link and I noticed it.
Okay, we're up to SCP-1290. This is called Imperfect Teleporter by Alana. This is a short
Why do I
one.
feel like I've heard the name Alana around before?
We may have read one of their other articles. I don't know. It's episode 62. Let's get into it. SCP-1290, Object Class FA. Special Containment Procedures. Research sites 48 Alpha and 48 Beta have been established around the branch facilities housing -1 and -2 respectively. Activation experiments involving the SCP have been indefinitely suspended for pending a better understanding of its operational principles. What could it mean?
I don't know, but they needed 2 whole sites built for 1 SCP. That seems inefficient as hell.
Description. The SCP is a pair of prototype electronic devices that were built by Prometheus Labs. That's a name we've not run into before. Maybe we'll run into them more in the future. As part of research into long-range teleportation. Each device consists of a platform 2 meters in diameter attached to a 5 meter by 20 meter by 3 meter main unit, both of which draw power from a dedicated generator. The 2 copies of the SCP are located at diametrically opposed antipodal locations of the Earth, with -1 located in redacted Colombia and -2 located in redacted Singapore. You haven't been to Singapore? I've not.
No, I've never been to Singapore. I heard you can get fined if you litter there, like really heavily.
Yeah. Well, where did you hear that? I know where you heard that. You say it. No, I know where you heard it.
I genuinely don't know what you're implying. I truly don't remember.
You saw it in JoJo.
Oh, that's probably correct. I just didn't remember that.
That's the way you phrase it. Oh, I heard that. Where'd you hear it?
I swear I didn't remember the source.
Remember when Polnareff dropped his fucking
Part 3 was full of, like, fun facts, so that makes sense.
I remember. Polnareff drops his only belongings and they think he's littering.
Yeah! Oh, Polnareff.
When an object is placed on the platform of -1 and the main unit is activated, the object is instantaneously, 10 milliseconds delay, teleported to the platform of -2.
No, less than or equal to 10 milliseconds delay, buddy, yeah.
However, due to what is suspected to be a design or engineering flaw, the object retains its orientation and velocity relative to the axis of the Earth.
Oh no.
That is
falls upside down.
That is, when a stationary object enters -1, it exits -2 upside down and travelling east at approximately 930 meters a second.
Oh, no.
See addendum -01 for more information. I think that pretty much says, oh, I don't need more information, but...
Yeah.
The SCP came to the Foundation's agent attention following the closure of the Prometheus Labs main facility, and was secured and contained on blank by elements of Mobile Task Force Move 4, debuggers. The chief engineer in charge of the SCP, Dr. Adapted, is wanted for questioning by the Foundation and is yet to be located. The SCP is currently being reverse engineered by Foundation research teams in an effort to understand and replicate its technology. So Prometheus Labs is sort of a bit of a more minor group of interest. They're pretty big, but not one of the big boys, I would say. The whole thing
I think you mean big as in like they have a lot of importance on the universe, but they don't have like a bunch of tails or like a big threat or anything.
No, because the main thing is that they are already sort of gone, and we're finding stuff they've left behind.
Like archaeology, anomalous archaeology.
It's more like in the 70s they were a big thing, but then they all blew themselves up with their anomalous tech, and now we just sort of...
So it's like a less menacing factory.
Kinda, yeah, kinda.
Gotcha.
Addendum 1, Incident Report.
What if we started an anomalous tech company in our podcast lore? Just kidding, unless...
Incident Report, Initial Activation Experiment on blank. In order to establish the functionality of the SCP, Foundation researchers attempted to teleport a regulation 14-pound, 6.35 kilogram bowling ball from -1 to -2.
That's such a heavy bowling ball. Does anyone bowl with a 14-pound bowling ball?
I do. Resulting in
prove to people.
one on each finger.
Dual bowling, like dual wielding bowling balls.
No, one on each finger.
Wait, what?
I reel 10.
Oh!
And I do a pose and 10 go flying.
Your fingers would split so far.
No, I'm just huge. I'm just built different.
Oh, your fingers are spread really far
They're
apart.
like spaghetti, they stretch out and enter the bowling ball. Time for Bowling Rush.
Boom! You like knock down like a group of people and you're like, looks like a strike. One guy's running away. Oops, better aim for a spare.
There's like, you turned my strike into a spur. Scum.
I won't spare your life. Throws bowling ball at back of head.
I don't need the guiding rails to kill you.
like barely misses the hero by an inch. Gutter ball, it seems.
It's like a supervillain now.
Yeah, like a character.
You're going to, with your deaf Spider-Man, this will be New York Strike.
The bowler. What's his name? Perfect score, maybe, for a 300. Gutter ball! Because I was left in the gutter of society, beaten and abused, unnoticed.
Tony Stark beats me at bowling.
So I beat his wife within an inch of her life.
Oh my god, he's much darker than I thought.
Yeah.
He has, like, trick bowling balls, they do different things.
Yeah, he's got one that explodes, one that, like, turns into a net. He's got...
Spider-Man, I've trapped these orphans inside this giant glass bowling ball. If you don't get a strike, they'll fall into space.
Superman has to bowl with it! But the only way to get a strike is to throw it into a bowling alley. That would be a surefire strike, but all the poor bowlers.
Oh, but all those innocent civilians have been tied up.
Yeah, he makes a superhero bowl, but like the pins are civilians and the ball's like made of laser.
If you don't get a strike, Superman, I'll kill Lois Lane. He's not even like bowling related, the murder. He's just got a gun for Lois.
Can you write a short story about the bowler, please?
Absolutely.
He's so good.
Anyway, SCP.
Bowling Aether user who uses bowling balls he's recorded for his tricks.
So they teleported the bowling ball from Dash 1 to Dash 2, resulting in 3 casualties and severe damage to the research facility and a neighbouring warehouse. I have to say, I don't know what they were expecting. Until the SCP is fully functional and the source of this flaw is identified, activation experiments have been suspended until further notice.
That's a cute one, but again, I think this is more of a world-building article than like a wow, that's a really good article.
Yeah.
Is that the theme of... What is the theme of these? Are these truly just 4 random articles? Because they kind of seem like it.
Of course. Wink.
Oh, is this the anomalous objects episode, maybe?
No, you'll never figure it out.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm getting tired. Do you want to start this next one? SCP-1440, The Old Man from Nowhere by Dramatics.
We've already read this.
What?
We've read this one. It's
no
the
worries.
old man who like can't stay anywhere too long because he destroys the world around him.
Oh, fuck. It's episode 62. It's bound to happen. Don't worry. I keep
This one! I mean, to be fair, we read this one over a year ago. It was one of the first ones we did. I think it was somewhere around before or after the Little Misters episode. That's so funny. We've already read this one. Why did I remember it and you didn't?
I don't know. This guy's mocking me.
That's actually hilarious.
I
guess we only have 3 SCPs today.
No, we've got another one. I've came prepared.
Furiously clicking through the wiki. I prepared another one, don't worry.
This is episode 16... It's SCP-1678. Un-London.
Alright. I haven't seen this one. Is that you? It looks kind of like Zdune in a London cop-op outfit.
Of course not. And this one is, of course, by the great author, Astronaut Joe.
Wait, who were the last 2 authors? Fuck, did we talk about them?
Yeah, Kane Paphos Crow and Elana.
Right. And this one's by who again, I'm sorry?
Astronaut Joe.
Astronaut Joe. Okay, so is Dune an SCP, by the way?
It is not. You
should write that.
But yeah, this is SCP-1678, Un-London. Why don't you kick us off?
Is this like reverse London? Where you like go down the sewer and there's another London underneath it, but it's like evil? Prince Philip is still alive in Un-London. He's waiting for you there. Item number, SCP-1678. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-1678 remains only partially contained. Mobile Task Forces Tau-4 and Epsilon-6 have succeeded in establishing a defensible perimeter around the Hyde Park district of SCP-1678, with cases of 1678-A largely ceasing their attacks on the perimeter of the Foundation-held area. So we see a case of -A under containment, and it looks like a London police officer with a weird head So I'm guessing those are the A's, or like uncops, un-London cops. They're like, "Oi, do you have a license for existing?"
What's all this then?
Yeah. A long-term research base is currently under construction, and mobile task force commanders are preparing an assault on the 1678 Natural History Museum with the intent of capturing a forward command post to direct defense efforts. Why are they going to war with it? I thought they were just supposed to preserve SCPs. Who cares? It's just un-London. No one wants un-London.
I love it.
Sorry. Current short-term... I should stop drinking when we do podcasts. This is super unprofessional. I'm sorry. Current short-term aims involve the capture of an extension of the defensible perimeter to the SCP-1678 Natural History Museum, and to research and to ascertain the origins, construction, and weaknesses of the SCP-1678-A entities. Long-term aims involve efforts to halt, hinder, or control the production of 1678-A entities, and to assault the 1678 Houses of Parliament, where the being, entity, or intelligence responsible for the creation of 1678 is believed to reside, and to capture and contain the aforementioned being. I'm just imagining you, like, at a desk with your fingers steepled together, like, "Let them come. My un-London officers will be the death of you."
Go on, Boris. Stop them coming any further.
Yeah, Boris is there. He's like a 12-foot tall officer
Like a
with a huge club.
boss.
Yeah, he's like, "As you wish."
You have to fight him in the Unhouses of Common.
Oh God! Why were the first two so short, and you're making me read this really long one?
Because you called me out and I must punish you.
1678 is a full-scale mirror image reconstruction of the British city of London, as opposed to the non-British city of London, located exactly 1 kilometer underneath the original city of London. Currently, only the Hyde Park district of SCP-1678 has been explored, but all buildings, at least within the explored district, correlate exactly to their surface counterparts in terms of location, as well as the exterior size and shape, although rarely in terms of architecture, building material, and interior layout. That is one run-on sentence. What the fuck? The city has been constructed to resemble the city as it was in the Victorian era, with constructions designed to resemble traditional gas lighting prevalent on the streets, and with all modern buildings in the original city of London being represented in a Victorian style of architecture, most notably the skyscrapers of the business district. Illumination is infrequent and unreliable, and it is unknown how 1678 has acquired a steady oxygen and gas supply. 1678 is believed to have been constructed instantaneously by unknown means, probably with the Infinity Stones, with the 1678 Houses of Parliament serving as the epicenter for the construction process. I imagine, like, there's a fight with, like, you, the boss of Un-London, and the Foundation. You're, like, bleeding out, and you're, like, having your villain last moment. And you're like, "Looks like London Bridge is falling down." And then you pass away.
You should have gone You should have gone for Big Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben turns into a giant mech! Oh, that'd be so cool. I want this to happen now. Alright, what was I reading? This is evidenced by the fact that as distance from the Houses of Parliament increases, there is an exponentially increasing frequency of flaws in the construction of 1678.
Just like the real London.
Such as houses built entirely out of copper pipes or other unconventional materials, gas lights being little more than a metal rod topped with a floating orb of light, buildings containing no floors, and at the furthest explored distance from the epicenter, no windows or doors. Aside from Foundation occupants in cases of -A, B, and C, 1678 is believed to be uninhabited. 1678 is believed to have been constructed with the intent to harbor the survivors of an XK-class end of the world event. If you didn't have a plan for this week, why didn't we just read, like, requests?
No, don't worry about it.
Okay. This is evidenced by an audio recording that will activate and play upon any person entering the city. Alright, we have an audio transcript of the entrance. Would you like to read this?
Sure. I wish I had, like, an old-timey filter for this. Like, really, Andrew Ryan.
My fellow citizen.
My fellow citizen. If you are hearing this tape, then the world as we knew it has finished. The sky has broken, the ground heaves with the tramp of terrible feet, and all the horror and madness from the dark corners of the world has broken free to exact its vengeance on the world of man. Those who sought to contain them are killed or scattered, and we soon learned to attempt to fight these creatures almost invariably to face one's death. Countless billions are being slaughtered in an attempt to sate their endless appetite for death, and there is nothing, was nothing, we could do to stop them. Evil has raised its bloody flag upon all nations of the world and crowned its unholy victory to the broken sky. Yes, this is the end. But there is a new hope. Welcome to Rapture. Unlondon. A city of the survivors. A city of the free.
Yeah, why does this read like Rapture?
It is very Bioshock. Together, fellow citizen, we'll await and prepare for a new beginning. The grand new world that is soon to come. Let the world above burn. We will endure. Let the monsters have their world. We will prepare.
So wait, why are we fighting these guys if they weren't causing problems?
And let the ground tremble with a new Armageddon as evil consumes itself, for I tell you, citizen, upon the day of the ruination of man, their insatiable appetites will turn against one another in their endless lust for death. We will wait. And I tell you, citizen, that there will be a new morning, and you will emerge from London and stand blinking in the sun as our children play and laugh in the bones of horrors long dead. And you'll walk hand in hand to the sea, our faces skywards, as the rising sun ushers in the new age of man. And you will gather, citizen, at my feet as I summon London from its rest, and it shall burst, phoenix-like, from the ashes of the old. And on that day, the citizen, there shall be a new order as we raise the Union flag over the entire world.
Why is Union flag capitalized? Why flag?
Because it's the Union flag. I welcome you to London, the last city.
Why is last city capitalized?
That always confuses me with stuff like this. How do you know it needs to be capitalized?
Also, why? Yeah, because this is a transcript. Also, how is it also the first? London was not the first city in real life.
Well, it's because the last city, because then when the new world comes, it's going to burst out and be the first one.
Oh, the first of the new world. Yeah, imagine you have to enter a new world and your only option is to live in London. Sounds like an L to me, buddy.
How dare you? But yeah, that's
you don't even live in London. Aren't you like anti-London because they're all shady or something?
I don't care for southerners. Apologies to any southerners. Please subscribe to my podcast.
What a little bitch.
Hey, you can't say that to me. I'm British.
I'm sorry. What does that do with anything? Hold on,
I've been through enough. You poured all my tea into the fucking harbour. I was going to drink that.
I'm sorry. You were going to go back to, what was it, 1776 and drink all the tea?
Oh, Mr. Washington, please, if I could just have just a sip. What are you doing?
I mean, technically you could. Tea is just the stuff in water and they put it in the ocean, so that's a lot of tea.
They dump it in like, no, you can't drink it, British scum. And I'm like... and I just let myself fall
put a straw in the water,
the
start
ocean.
slurping up the harbor.
I just let myself fall backwards into the ocean, just hear like a whirlpool. Like, no!
The water level starts going down.
You fool, Washington.
You powered him up.
Ben Franklin's like lost an arm. He's like, fight!
Fight! He's like gripping the arm. It's like the blood's like out of him. Oh, my favorite anime trope is when the characters cough up blood. They're like, and it comes out slow motion. It's like, no, he's done.
George Washington's like, yeah, and I'm like, I've already taken care of Thomas Jefferson.
Trying to think of other. Paul Revere can't save you now.
But anyway, we're reading an article. It's your turn.
Yeah, so where are we? Oh, yeah. Fuck. Oh, that's so long. The following message is relayed on the end of every hour. The time is time o'clock. All is... What? The time is 6 o'clock. All is well. On approaching any bank or police station, citizen, you are entering a restricted area. Have your authorization... Oh, it's like real London. If your authorization papers ready, a bobby will arrive to escort you shortly. Warning, a single case of Dash A will be summoned. On being cited by a case of Dash A, halt, police! Drop your weapons! Come now, let's be having you. Police, don't run! Randomly, once per hour, the messages below are selected samples of the 1678 observed audio recordings. No one is safe from the influence of mimetic I love how this guy's created a dystopia that no one lives in yet. Like, no one's even here and he's already let the power go to his head. No one is safe from the influence of mimetic beings. Have yourself assessed today. You could be possessed by a mimetic horror and not even know it. Psyche assessments are free and easy. Visit a clinic today. Do you find light on... Does anyone even live here yet?
I don't know, but not yet. But how much do you think they charge for that on New York?
Oh, haha, well played. Except this is on London where they get to brainwash your mind. You basically trade all your freedom away to live in this dystopian world for a free psych assessment. In New York, it would probably cost like $3,000. I also learned it's even worse on the coasts, right? Like, I got my ADHD testing done when I was a kid.
We have a lot of fun here, people, but it's time
Psychiatrist.
to get serious.
I got like my screening from a psychiatrist, right? I was talking to someone, an adult friend of mine, who was like going to get ADHD, and like, yeah, the screening's $2,000. I was like, $2,000? They ask you a few questions on a piece of paper, like, yeah, it's a little bit expensive in California. I'm like, that's why you shouldn't live there. Literally the worst state. Do you find light uncomfortable? Identifying a cortex worm's infection early makes them possible to remove. Speak to your doctor today. What's a cortex worm? This place sounds shitty. Have you noticed anyone acting oddly? Tell a Bobby immediately. Crime will not be tolerated in London as opposed to anywhere else. I warn you, the tormentors of society will become its defenders. What? I don't know how much more I can take of this. It's not even, like, toony fun. It's just like, what the fuck is happening?
Let's go on.
This really does just feel like someone played Bioshock and was like, I'm gonna make this an SCP. Evil can walk in human form and human flesh. Stay vigilant. Are you frequently anxious or depressed? It could be a symptom of the pattern screamer's influence. Notify a Bobby immediately. Ensure you are well rehearsed in all breach protocols. There is no excuse for panic or confusion during drills. Can't make ends meet? Do not be ashamed. Bryson's Home for the Poor is here to help. I rule in the... I love how in this ideal society, instead of creating a society, which he has from the ground up, where everyone can, like, afford to live, he's just already, like, factored in that there's gonna be poor people! He just decided that... That kind of reminds me when I saw a post, it was probably a meme, but someone was like making up a sexuality about being attracted to bees, and they invented their own slur for that. And I was like, why would you do that? What is the point of that? I rule in the interests of the many, not the few. There are no special privileges.
This is me when people recommend SCPs in the comment.
Swelling and abnormal growths are an early sign of the slaverman's possession. Report any abnormal sickness to your doctor. This sounds like a terrible place to live. Each and every one of you is responsible for the safety of London and its citizens. Be watchful. Most explored buildings within 1678 appear to have been outfitted for the purpose of extremely dense inhabitation with closely grouped steel bunk beds, a common feature in any building suitable for the purpose. Foundation researchers have advised that most explored buildings within 1678 are unfit for human habitation due to a high preponderance of mold, damp, and poor construction within these buildings. Some buildings are outfitted for other purposes, most notably the 1678 version of the Natural History Museum, which is featuring an exhibit titled The Fall of Man, and contains representations of several known SCP entities and images and artwork depicting apocalyptic settings. Hang on, who wrote this again?
Archipegalogalo.
Okay. The key threat posed by 1678 is by entities referred to in some 1678 audio recording as bobbies. Bobbies, known to be a Victorian-era British slang term for policemen, henceforth referred to as 1678-A. These entities are constructed out of human corpses crudely dismembered at the head, wrists, knees, and elbows, and reassembled using simple industrial hinges and screws. The head is always wrapped in bandages. They are dressed in a uniform similar to Victorian-era police and are extremely hostile towards Foundation personnel, attacking them on site with improvised weapons. How did they even get to this place again? Where was it? Like, underneath London somewhere? Yeah, what the fuck? It's just underground, though. It's not like in another dimension. So I feel like most things that would destroy the world would also destroy this. These attacks are always preceded by -A, emitting a noise similar to that of a policeman's whistle, and all loudspeakers within 100 meters emitting the audio recording of "Police! Halt! Criminal!" Instances of -A are extremely resistant to damage, with only high-caliber rounds and explosive weapons proving sufficient to destroy them. Why? They're just corpses with hinges. They are believed to originate from a building named Bryson's Home for the Poor, as evidenced by an inmate-style jumpsuit worn under the uniform. To what extent... so they turn the poor into policemen. Classy. To what extent they interact with other 1678 entities is unknown.
Can we take over
we
that?
have... Yeah, please do.
-B. Role Surveillance, aka Eyes in the Sky. Cases of -B are biomechanical constructs which resemble that of a small alien life form. They're composed of a central mass of a red organic matter stitched together by a copper exoskeleton that resembles a spine and wing bones. The head has been demonstrated to be a small video camera, and remnants of feathers and plastic on the exterior suggest they were once intended to resemble a pigeon. Cases of -B are known to possess no offensive or destructive capabilities, yet their ability to track task force movement should not be underestimated, as it's currently unknown if they are capable of communicating with or summoning cases of -A. Cases of -B are relatively simple to contain or destroy, yet their large numbers make their observation of Foundation activities extremely difficult to stop. Occasional posters throughout the Foundation explored area allude to their existence. These posters display an image of a small pigeon observing criminal activity beneath the title, "And London's Eyes in the Sky," alongside a small message to the effect that anyone destroying or vandalising an Eye in the Sky faces up to 6 weeks in the Tanhony unit.
No, not the Tanhony unit.
You just enter, I'm just sat in there. Please, come in.
So they got, like, little pigeon bird spies?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we even have those in real life in, like, China or some shit?
I don't
Not
know.
even, like, anomalous. So why is that a -B?
Well, because they're, like, made from birds.
I guess. This kind of reminds me a little bit of... Remember that tower that, like, made animals into, like, servants?
Yeah.
Kind of has a similar vibe. Maybe it was the same guy, same artist. Alright, go ahead, you can keep going.
Same amount FT. -C. Role Unknown, aka Wretch. Cases of -C resemble a humanoid figure dressed in rags. They appear to be of old age and are usually, although not always, female. They've always been encountered outside the Foundation-held area. There have been very few direct encounters with the -C entities, and it's currently unknown how many cases exist or to what level of threat to what level of threat they pose to Foundation security or safety. Encounters typically feature cases of -C sitting on a street corner with a begging dish, whereupon they will attempt to attract the pity or mercy of any Foundation personnel within their proximity with pleading or begging for food or money. Supplying a case of -C with food will cause them to begin weeping before dematerializing with a burst of death and black smoke. Foundation personnel are currently under instruction to not interact with them. They are briefly alluded to in an SCP-1678 audio recording. Do not pity the wretch. Allow them to pay the price of their betrayal for all eternity. Remember, citizen, on the day on London rises, I shall reward the loyal, while traitors shall be forever damned. That's you. That's what I'm going to do to you if you ever make fun of me again.
Man, I gotta say, like, I don't want to shit on this one too much. It's an earlier SCP. You know, these were written for different purposes, but I'm like, this one's really losing me. I'm like barely able to keep paying attention.
SCP-1678-D. Role, food supply, aka...
There you go.
Dr. Goody's Wonder Food. -D is believed to be the primary food source on offer in the event that the SCP receives full-scale occupation. -D is freely and easily available from steel vending machines installed in virtually every building or structure outfitted for the purpose of habitation. The vending machines are upright steel pumps similar in size and shape to that of a modern petrol pump, containing a slot for the receiving of coins and a flexible rubber hose ending in a trigger-operated nozzle that will deploy half a litre of -D upon the appropriate payment. All vending machines display the legend, Dr. Goody's Wonder Food, alongside an image of a smiling child enjoying a bowl of -D, and text bubbles advising that -D costs just a farthing a bowl, that it contains all the nutrients you need and completely restores health and vitality, as the health power-up. It has proven to be extremely attractive to cases of -B, C, and an unknown species of coloured mollusk which have been observed feeding on any spillages. -D is a synthetic starch gel heavily enriched with various minerals, vitamins, fats, and bulking agents. In addition to this, it contains several unknown molecular structures and various engineered DNA helices carried within synthetic cellular structures. It has the same consistency and taste as porridge.
I hate that. I hate the taste comment because it implies they made people eat this shit.
Of course. As advertised, it contains all the nutrients necessary for short-term survival. But add space in the article. However, Foundation researchers have advised that over a period of more than 6 weeks, users of -D will become dangerously underweight due to low levels of fat and protein within -D, and are at strong likelihood of contracting illnesses such as scurvy if survival is attempted by consuming -D alone. -D appears to be purposely engineered to manipulate the psyche of regular consumers. through a mixture of unknown molecular compounds. Regular consumers are more obedient to authority, are less likely to commit acts of violence, are less likely to engage in sexual intercourse. No, my horny. Have a reduced capacity for fear or panic.
Actually, where can a motherfucker get some -D up in here?
And have consistently high morale. Hey, hold on. I want good morale.
Yeah, this sounds pretty good. Cures depression and makes you stop being horny? Hold on, where's the -D at?
Hey, what's the downside? In addition, it also has engineered side effects such as depressive symptoms and headaches.
Wait, what? How can you have high morale and depressive syndromes?
If a subject suddenly abandons consuming -D.
Of course. It's like a drug. Porridge drug?
Due to the difficulty of creating food within the SCP, -D would serve as the primary food source in the event of large-scale habitation. Foundation personnel are forbidden to consume -D, even in small amounts. Not all
then how do you know what it tastes like?
I assume they tested on a D guy. Not all vending machines produce -D to the same quality, with some machines deploying corrupted forms that have induced severe mental or physical abnormalities or death within the consumer. It is currently unclear what entity, being, or intelligence is responsible for the creation and maintenance of the SCP. It is unclear as to what event or disaster the SCP is prepared for. My issue with this article is it just sort of stops.
Yeah, all that's left is it is current. Yeah. It doesn't tell you why the Foundation's fighting them, because they don't really have a reason to. Honestly, I think this article would have been better as a group of interest. Even though it still is silly and has a lot of errors, I think the whole Foundation fighting them, the whole idea fits much better with a group of interest than an SCP, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my average, it sort of sets up this other narrative at the start. Like, there's maybe a guy in the Houses of Parliament who's doing all this.
Yeah, and there's like a fight going on, and then it's like, oh, by the way, on London is Bioshock World.
But it's more like a setting description than an actual story is my issue. Yeah. I do like the setting. I am quite fond of it because other people have done cool stuff with it. But the actual article
I believe
itself,
you, but I'm still giving this one a 4 out of 10 and a downvote of Rooney. I'm sorry. Forgive me. It's just this once. I have to go all out.
Don't worry. You're going somewhere new now.
So there's a fourth article you mentioned before,
Home
right?
for the Poor. Yeah. We have room for one more, do you think? We're 46 minutes in.
Probably. Or we could just start reading. I don't care. It's up to you.
Let's flip a coin. Let's be crazy in this discovery.
Didn't you have a fourth prepared? This just proves they really are random articles.
Actually, no. Yeah, actually, yeah, we do have to read it. Never mind, we have to read it.
Okay.
It's SCP-2466. Right. This is called Slay Dragons Save City by CWW.
CWW? Isn't that a TV channel?
No.
The CWW? Oh, by Communism Will Win. No, okay. You were just shortening their name.
Item number SCP-2466. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. The SCP is kept as an issue.
No, just at least it's safe.
Safe. SCP-2466 is kept in a standard storage locker at Site-44. Testing of the SCP may be undertaken with permission of the SCP's HMCL supervisor. Testing of -1 is not permitted. To prevent accidental activation of -1, all shortcuts to the program have been removed from the device. If -1 is activated, the SCP must be disconnected from its power source immediately. Could I potentially popcorn this to you for a minute because my throat is dry? Don't know.
What'd you say? I'm sorry?
Can I popcorn this to you for a little bit?
Sure, do you want me to do the description?
Yeah, sure. I'll do the addendum.
Okay. SCP-2466 is a Samsung Galaxy S5 smartphone running the Android operating system. It is host to a number of non-anomalous applications, as well as -1, identified as Slay Dragons Save City. -1's code is incomprehensible, will not operate on any device other than 2466, and will reinstall itself on 2466 if removed. Oh, it's like the app from Persona.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't get rid of it. The metaverse. Termination of 2466-1 is only possible by removing 2466's power source. So they've terminated it before.
Well, again, that's the unterminated
how did it come back?
Afterwards.
Yeah, so it's not really terminated, huh? It comes back when you put the power back in.
They had a termination quota, so they had to fudge the numbers.
-1 is a text-based game in which the user battles against an instance of Mega Charizard X, a character from the Pokemon franchise. Wait, Series 3 was written when Mega Charizard X exists? Oh my god, how old am I? I thought this was like still the olden days of SCP. Is it really not? It's really not that old of a fandom, is it? Holy shit. Oh god, I feel really old now. Hold on, I need a minute. Dash 1 uses the battle mechanics found in the Pokemon games produced for 3DS. The user is assigned a randomized Pokemon from among those that can be acquired in the game Pokemon X, with access to 4 random moves that the Pokemon in question can learn. Combat is turn-based, with the user and Mega Charizard X attack... Well, how would you stand a chance without another Mega Pokemon? Attacking each other or using other moves in turn. If the user-controlled Pokemon's hit points are depleted, it will faint, preventing it from executing its move if it has not already done so. Dash 1 will then replace the user's Pokemon with another randomly generated Pokemon. If Mega Charizard X faints, it will be replaced by another copy of Mega Charizard X. The user may input the command check to gain all relevant information on their current Pokemon, or the name of any of their Pokemon's moves to execute that move. All this is just a text form of Pokemon, but garbage. Why? Every move executed by Dash 1's instance of Mega Charizard X compels 10 to 12 random residents of Sacramento, California to engage in activities that correspond to the selected move. Mega Charizard X can use the moves Dragon Dance, Roost, Flare Blitz, and Dragon Claw. See Addendum 2466-1 for details. There's no evidence that the user's actions have similar effects, either in blank or anywhere else. Due to Mega Charizard X's high power, few Pokemon assigned to the user can avoid fainting from both Flare Blitz and Dragon Claw after it has used Dragon Dance. However, the AI that determines Mega Charizard X's moves frequently makes strategic errors, which gives the user frequent opportunities to launch counterattacks. Dash 1. Effects of Mega Charizard X's moves. The 10 to 12 residents of Sacramento affected by each move... Are they always the same residents or different every time?
Random, it said, so yeah, different.
Affected by each move are granted the collective designation 2466-2 for the duration of their compulsion. Flare Blitz and Dragon Claw will affect real-world damage in proportion to the damage dealt by Mega Charizard X with the corresponding move in Dash 1. SCP-1 will not accept user input until the effects of the associated move are completed. Dragon Dance. SCP-2466-2 will converge in a public space, so it's like a really slow battle because you have to wait for the event to happen. Converge in a public space and perform synchronized dances while repeatedly singing the song Pokemon theme from the English adaptation of the Pokemon anime. This lasts for approximately 15 minutes, so you have to wait 15 minutes for your turn? After which Dash 2 will set fire to the nearest building and disperse. This is stupid. I love it. It's like stupid in the good way. Roost, Dash 2 members will climb into a nearby tree and fall asleep for 3 to 4 hours. You have to wait that long? This game sucks! Sitting upright without support. This rarely results in injury. That's good. Flare Blitz. Dash 2 will set fire to themselves using nearby flammable materials and sources of heat, then run towards and collide with another nearby individual. Oh. Dragon Claw. Dash 2 will obtain claws and assault a nearby individual using them. While some users will use pre-existing claws, such as those used in costumery or those attached to an animal, or affix sharp objects to their fingers, the most common method is for Dash 2 to mutilate their fingers such that the bones form sharp points. The combat effectiveness of fingers altered this way usually exceeds expectations. Addendum Dash 2. Atypical manifestation... Oh, wait, you said you do the addendum.
Yeah,
take this one over.
Yeah. On several occasions, Dash 2's behaviour deviated from the patterns described in Addendum 1. All occurred prior to containment, and thus the move used is not known with certainty. Date and time, 2014-10-25. Move used, Roost. Effects, they were each entered a tree but were not compelled to stay or sleep. Each member exited the tree within 10 minutes. Event occurred in this manner 3 times on 10-25. Then on 10-31, they used Flare Blitz. Each member of Dash 2 acquired a jack-o'-lantern which they ignited and threw at the targets, presumably due to coincidence with Halloween festivities. 2014-11-01. Move used unknown. 11 members of the Blank High School Pokemon Club vandalised an empty classroom, destroying most items and structures therein. Subjects describe the action as involuntary. While the number of affected subjects associated with Pokemon and compulsion effects suggest SCP involvement, the event has not been replicated. It may be unrelated.
What I'm betting thinking about that line is that maybe this only affects people who are fans of or have heard of Pokemon, but because there's so many of those, it's basically random. At least in an American city in California.
2014-11-21. Dragon Dance. One member of Dash 2 played a trumpet rather than sing. The event concluded with Dash 2 attempting to flood the church at which they had gathered. Coincides with the North American release of the game's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
No.
Kyogre. 2014-12-07-15. Dragon Claw. Over the course of a week, Dash 2 spent 1 week modifying a bulldozer with layers of cement and steel, as well as several large front-mounted spikes and a flamethrower. On December 15, Foundation personnel located and detained Dash-2. No other Dragon Claw
they had to wait
manifestations
1
reported.
week to fucking put in their next move.
At least 1 week, because they hadn't finished yet.
Yeah.
If the modification had been completed, the vehicle would resemble the armoured bulldozer used in a 2004 Rampage, colloquially known as the Killdozer. News coverage of the event is available from the Washington Post here, real event here. Several members of Dash-2 reported familiarity with the event. 2014, 12, 27 to 28 there. Several moves. 7 moves were executed, with members of Dash-2 drawn from among patrons of a Renaissance fair located 3 kilometres south of Blank. In each case, fair staff were able to do all members of Dash-2 with minimal difficulty. No injuries were recorded. Plans to establish a permanent Renaissance fair in Blank in the event of containment failure are under consideration. So
How would containment failure happen? It's just a phone.
I don't. Someone takes the phone.
It's like, oh, I can't wait to play Pokemon in text format and wait hours at a time.
GOI 222 Nintendo made an attack on the Foundation, stole the device.
It's funny because this is definitely in a wackier tone, but it's basically the same as like those shitty like creepypasta like cursed games. I found this cartridge of Pokemon on an unmarked phone.
I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and I really like Pokemon. When I got the phone, I was so happy I cried and died.
Yeah, we should do an episode one of these days just reading those shitty like cursed game creepypastas. That'd be fun.
Yeah, sure. But what's
all right? Well, so what was the theme? Oh, sorry, my thoughts. This one was, again, I can't be too harsh because it's an earlier SCP. Different things they were going for, like Cactus said. But this one really didn't draw me in any meaningful way. It was goofy, I'll give it that, but there wasn't really anything to it. And also the logistics of how slow the game was kept distracting me as I kept making fun of. Like, because you have to wait for a move to execute, and some of these moves took fucking days. So, like, why would anyone even design the game like this to play? What was the point? Also, how does this save the city? Because, like, slaying the dragon just replaces it. Because slaying the dragon just produces another dragon.
It's life. We all have our dragons.
Alright. I didn't like this one very much. I'm sorry. Communism will win. I'm going to have to give this one a 5 out of 10. Overall, this episode was kind of a... I gotta be honest, these SCPs were not the heat. Which is further why I think you pick these randomly. I don't know if there's a theme, because usually you pick, like, really good ones, but, like, I was having trouble even continuing to pay attention. And I know ADHD, I mentioned a lot, but, like, these ones just really were not gripping in any meaningful way this week.
There's going to be a stinker with every podcast, so I guess we've hit our stinker.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm sure people enjoy these articles. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just wasn't pulled by any of them. The only one that showed up that was good was the one we already read. But yeah, I don't know. I guess On London could be good. You said it was mentioned and there were other tales based off of that are probably more fun. But On London on its own was kind of meh. Can you tell me the theme, please? Will it be revealed next episode? What's your game plan here?
It'll be revealed eventually.
I don't believe you.
It will.
Alright, well, we may, I'm not going to hype up too much, we may, if things go well, have a guest next week. But if we don't, you can't complain.
You can't promise anything. But we do have a guest for right now.
Try.
You guys!
What? Fuck off. Alright, let me open the comments. Give me a minute. So, Tanhony, how did you feel about that last article?
It was fun.
Oh. You heard it here first? Whoa, what happened? We got like... Okay, unless I'm crazy, weren't we at like 760-something subscribers? We're at like 782 now.
Yeah, we did pretty good this week.
Yeah, what happened?
I bought some bots. No.
Oh, that makes sense. Classic Tanhony move. Yeah.
It's like Age of Ultron, my favourite Marvel movie. I don't even know if this is a bit anymore where I pretend to be a big Marvel fan.
You seem like one. I
do really enjoy Marvel movies. It's shameful, but I do enjoy them.
Lang Lim says, Yo, Tan Man, I have recently heard your 001 proposal, the Black Moon, described as Ouroboros 2, Black Moon Boogaloo. Make of that what you will. Also, at the time of writing, the 6K contest has started. What do you think of the theme?
Oh, have you seen the theme?
Nature?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you'd seen it. That wasn't a build-up to a bit. That it was a question.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
It's an interesting one. I'm still giving it some thought as to what I might write for it.
Yeah, that answers his next question. Will you submit an entry? And then, and why will it be when the imposter sus3 do or die?
Who gave you my documents?
We'll be seeing you shortly. Darnell graphically says, Darnell knows Infinity Train. Woohoo! Shaman is only getting 4 seasons, Frowny.
4 is a lot
I
of
hate
seasons.
to disappoint you. I hate to disappoint you. I know you mean the cartoon, which I have heard of, but I was referencing Mugen Train, English name, from Demon Slayer. I'm sorry!
4 seasons of that arc. It's just like arc 3. It's just like arc 3 of the web serial, April Space.
Wow, didn't I mention that earlier in this episode?
Yeah,
that's
there's
crazy.
a free trial for it that goes through all to level 60
Free
and
trial!
the first expansion, Heaven's Words.
I'll be honest, I love Aethereal Space. If I had to pay to read it, I would not read it.
Oh!
But
What if it was
I
an
don't
MMO?
really do that whole thing. If it was an MMO, I'd pay to play. I'd pay my MMO character like a beefy dragon, and I would call it like
Skip is like a quest giver.
Radar.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you can kill 10 of those security officers and bring me their helmets.
Dragon's like, I need you to collect 5 pieces of evidence.
Search these boxes. I need 5 pieces to create a contraption.
But yeah, Graphically also says, I would like to see more canons explored, such as Bellerverse, End of Death, and S&C Plastics. For Tanhony, if you are entering the 6,000 contest and you happen to win, would you prefer Mr. 5,000 or Mr. 6,000?
Just call me God.
Okay. For Darnell, what's your most favorite medium of entertainment? Ergo, books, music, TV. That's really hard. I like a lot of entertainment. I guess I don't even know if it's my favorite, but the one I consume the most by far is manga, because it's easier to pick up and stop. More easy to pick up and stop than anime, which I just don't have as much time for. And I read a lot of manga, and I'll often cycle. Although sometimes that means I forget about a manga I was reading till way later. But I really like reading manga a lot. Trusty Altruist says, I only just recently started listening to your videos, but I quickly learned that I couldn't do it while around other people because I would laugh out loud and be unable to explain myself.
You should not
Trusty
listen to this
Altruist,
podcast
I like
around
you.
people.
Yeah, in fact, you should explain it to them. Be like, oh, it's just this really funny YouTube channel called Discovering SCP.
Do not let people know you listen to Discovering SCP. You'll be a social pariah. They'll kill you.
What the fuck? Go to any high school, go to any room, tell your friends I listen to Discovering SCP. They may give you a disgusted expression. Yeah. They may dump their lunch over your head. Dinotail says,
Well, thank you.
Personally, I okay with the SCP-2317 entity not being the Scarlet King. I personally like the 001 version of it better. I hope you guys check it out one day. Tanhony seems to be upset that the credit for 5167 went to Dr. Gears. Yes, Tanhony, yes, let the hate flow through you. Update, the SCP-6000 contest has begun.
Thank you.
Chris Carlson says, Verily I shall lead into the bit, good sirrah. It is I, the Duke of Carlshire, also known as the Iron Man of the Discovering SCP cinematic universe. And as for Luke, a.k.a. the Captain America, see, I like the 106 from the Young Man, but in a supreme twist. I don't see an argument here, because there was no canon, and this is a prime example of how that works.
Huh?
Yeah, now that I think about it, 3999 is very hard to read, but it is great. Definitely worth a read, if not on the podcast. It isn't really ad-friendly either, now that I think about it, but it is really good.
He thinks we get ads.
Yeah, this guy. Not until we have 1,000 subscribers we won't, then we can finally monetize.
Just tell 200 of your friends.
Yeah, do it.
Right
I'm not
now.
pointing a gun at you, it's
Pick
just
up the
a
phone.
suggestion.
Pick up the phone. It's not as easy. Just pick up the phone and tell them.
Stephanie says, I'm glad for this podcast because I am trying to get back into SCP, but the last time I read it was when 2521 came out. So following this podcast makes trying to catch up a lot less overwhelming. Exactly. Stephanie, good job. You and who was the other guy, Trusty Altruist? Yeah, good to have you guys.
We're with you to the end of the
many
line, just like my favourite superhero, Captain America.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Comedy Man Kelp says, honestly, going to work and a dog as your manager sounds like the best job ever. It's not.
Isn't that
I work
every
with
job?
dogs all day. Bork, bork, am I right? Also, week 1 of asking the boys to cover 173. That's the funny piece. That is literally what we did in the first episode.
Episode 1. Go watch it right now.
Oh, so you remember when it's Peanut, but not when it's Old Man?
Yeah, I do.
A bush from the island of Borneo left 2 comments. First, they said, there's a pretty good 3 Moons initiative tale about 2317 called Nightmare Regent Blue. Would love to see SCP-5657 or 5928. These aren't as well known, but are quite good and hopefully translate well into a podcast. Insert clever name here says, wow, I can't believe Tanhony killed me! Such an honor.
I hope they remember you.
Tithalia said smiley face.
The curse
Quaker Button says, yeah. Quaker Button says, honestly, I think I'd prefer it if the underground guy from 2317 was the Scarlet King. My logic is that 2317 is interesting, and Scarlet King is kind of boring. So if Scarlet King is underground guy, it makes him interesting.
Imagine making so smug.
Yeah, I don't know. Blank Blank says, the Irish will surely love the beginning of this episode.
What did I say?
It was me shitting on Britain and British people.
Oh right, I thought I forgot that I said like derogatory things about the Irish.
Thought Experiments and other stuff says week 3 of asking the boys to cover 5555 and 5999. We are not doing any Series 6 until we get to 5000. So your hopes are squashed now.
You're gonna be there for quite a few weeks.
He says, you boys cannot escape me. I could go for 100 weeks if I have to. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Mwahaha.
That's what Dr. Manhattan says.
With all the war crimes left in.
That we can do.
Yeah. Tell you what, if you do 100 weeks in a row, we will read those. If we haven't already by then. That's my solemn promise to you. Do you have that commitment, though? That's over 2 years. Think about that.
Whatever it takes.
And lastly, an anomalous writer says, I like how Tanhony has many titles on the wiki, such as The Clown Guy, Mr. 5000, and most important, Among Us Man.
This is the first time I've ever been called The Clown Guy.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's just called The Clown Guy.
You're right, one clown.
It's because he's a clown.
I wrote 1 clown, I wrote 2 Among Us SCPs, and suddenly, I'm The Clown Guy and Mr.
Well, you also only wrote 1 5000, so all your titles only come from 1 article out of, like, over 100.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe check them all out. Maybe read all the stuff I've written. Like, the SCPs.
Title for every article.
Yeah, like the web. You know, I've written some stuff on the wiki. I've written some tales. I wrote the web serial Aetherial Space. You can check that out. There's actually quite a bit of it now. Yeah. You know, it's
actually too much Aetherial Space, I think. There could be less Aetherial Space, probably.
Impossible.
I believe Tanhony did a word count a couple chapters ago. He was at like something crazy, like 175,000 words.
Yeah, so it could be a novel at this point. So if you got a novel...
Yeah, so all the people who come in are like, I wrote a 10,000 word draft. Bow before Honey. Yes. If you're the kind of person that jerks off over word count anyways. I jerk off over quality. And let me tell you, Aetherial Space has plenty of it after the first few chapters.
Thank you so much.
It gets so good. And that's not even like, the first few chapters aren't bad, it's just a little awkward setting up the world, but it really is good. Like, by the time you get mid or 3/4 of the way through Arc 1 onward, just good. It's good. Read it. If you don't read it, then you're cringe. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're cringe. Thank you for...
I'm sorry, I'm really distracted because I'm looking over on the comments in my recommended, and there's a video from Critical called Me with Big Anime Breasts, and it's 41 minutes long. And I keep, like, having the urge to click it, but we're mid-recording.
Don't worry, it's over. We're pretty much done.
Oh, epic. Oh boy. Alright, bye guys.
Oh, he's so eager to go.
Wait, sorry, did you have anything else?
No, but that was just very sudden. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah, take care.
Bye! Bye!